listening to Tales from the Tackle Shop. My name's Andy Page, and as always, my co-host is Alex Bates. Okay, Alex, day one of lockdown.
Day one, yeah. Doom and gloom already, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
It depends which way you look at it, buddy. I'm looking at this I was last night, before we had the news from Boris. I was thinking they're going to have to do something like this, because it seems like a quarter of the population are just really selfish, and they're not listening to advice.
Yeah.
So I thought...
Everyone's panicking, aren't they?
Well, I think the people that are panicking are staying at home and being brilliant. I want to say panicking, they're not panicking. They're just taking the advice on board, and they're self-isolating. I mean, I know loads of people, myself included. We've been doing it for over a week already, really, being very sensible about movement. And I think around March, when I was just going from this to places I had to go, there were very few people out and about, which is great, because you're thinking, if the whole of the country does this, it gives the NHS a chance to suppress this pandemic. Sadly, you look at images of people going to Wales, the beach, scenes in London over the weekend, and you just think, wow, it's incredible. What are these people doing?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's worrying, isn't it? Really, it is worrying to think that people were sort of thinking, oh yeah, we can go out in the countryside, but then not keeping the 2 metre distance rule. So obviously, with the news from last night, beforehand we had a strict measures in place regarding anglers coming to the shop and to use the fishery, and now obviously we are closed, but the tackle shop will still remain open for online orders, so eBay orders and telephone orders. So it's it's a bit doom and gloom, Andy, but I sort of thought about it, sat down with the family, and fortunately we've got some new lodges on site, which obviously no one can stay in those. So we made the decision to move into the lodge today. So I've got all my clothes and toiletries and everything in the back of my van, and so I should be staying here for 3 weeks, just so I haven't got to keep travelling backwards and forwards from home, and just being sensible about it, really. So yeah, strange one.
Well, I think as a businessman, you've pre-planned, and okay, you're a bit fortunate that you've got facilities there that you could use. But worst case scenario, you could have slept in the restaurant.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think in my head, you've got to double the 3 weeks to 6 weeks, because this is going to take some time to get on top of.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So if we all plan for a month and a half, 2 months, and let's face it, it's 2 months out of your whole life, and the quicker that the government and the NHS can get on top of this pandemic, the quicker life can get back to normal. And also, there's lots of spin-offs from this. I didn't realise this until a couple of days ago. I've got a good friend of mine who's very ill, is waiting for another operation. Can't have this second operation, which is going to be life-saving, until the pandemic's over. So these selfish people out there, the more you are being selfish and doing your own thing, the more you're not just putting others at risk with the virus, but you're killing people who need to use the NHS for other services. And I think this is what a lot of these selfish people aren't realising, is that it's not just the virus that's the problem, it's the services that the NHS can't give to people because they're on standby, or they're actually up to their necks in it with existing cases. So if you're out there and you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to go fishing, no you're not. You're staying at home. It's really, really clear advice from the government of what to do. Because I do seriously think that if people continue to be selfish and doing what they think is their right to do, I think we could have some kind of real strict, like militia lockdown, because people are just not listening. I look on Facebook today, Alex, and I don't wish to be rude, but some people are either stubborn or a bit thick, because it is really, really clear. I mean, I'll talk about Joe in a minute. I was talking to Joe last night. He's one of my American buddies, and I missed the live broadcast from Boris about what the latest situation was. So I just quickly went online to have a look, and last night, even at 12 o'clock at night, I was rushing around getting everything sorted. So I was in a position for this lockdown. Now, I know my situation's a lot easier than business owners, but it was really straightforward. So, from last night, all the shops selling non-essential goods, this include clothes and electronic stores, will be closed immediately. Libraries, playgrounds, outdoor gyms, places of worship will also close. This is the thing that's so straightforward. Gatherings of more than 2 people, excluding people who live together, will be banned. Now, that sentence alone tells you, don't go out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, there will be no weddings or baptisms, but funerals will be allowed. Parks will remain open, but people are only to go out to exercise once a day. And he was quite clear with that. They want mental well-being to be paramount. So you're allowed to go and exercise once a day, and I think you're allowed to go with one family member, which means, again, parents can take one child at a time outside. It's easy. There's other rules as well. Shopping for basic necessities as infrequently as possible. So use up your food. Don't use it all up, but when you're getting close to the end, then go to the shops. This will enable the shops to stock up. I think we just started to get over the mad rush.
I went to the shop, Tesco's, this morning just after 6 o'clock because I haven't been to any shops while all this has been going on. And first time I went in, and they'd got enough stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I can just imagine the queues and people getting in there. There's nothing going to be left. And they just need chance. It's not that they've not got it. The big warehouses now have got all the stuff. It's just a case of getting the stuff to the shops in time. That's been the problem, hasn't it?
Well, you're exactly right. This is what amazes me. I've avoided Tesco's like the plague. Now, this is not Tesco's fault, but because Tesco's is the biggest superstore, I think it attracts the biggest idiots.
Yeah.
So when you go to smaller shops, they seem to be better stocked because I've noticed the people in there are very sensibly just walking around, taking what they need. And also, why don't the supermarkets put trolley bans? You're only allowed a basket.
Yeah.
Take what you need, take perishables, and then you can go back in 3 or 4 days' time. There's no need for this panic buying. It's ridiculous. I've got another couple of things just to read out from this news report. Medical reasons to provide care or to help a vulnerable person, so you can go and do that, but limited. And this is the thing that amazes me, how people haven't got in their heads this morning. Travelling to and from work, but only if it is absolutely necessary. So, key workers need to go to work. If you're not a key worker, you don't need to go to work. You cannot get laid off during this crisis. It couldn't be clearer. But also, I was thinking about, okay, what about a plumber? They're obviously not a key worker, but they're vital for for us just to live. If we had a gas leak, that would be an emergency. So a plumber could come out and should come out to attend a gas leak, a water leak or something. So, and obviously if they went to a house, they'd obviously ask the occupants to move to the front room. So they had this distancing. So I think it's just a common sense call, all this really. And it's not exactly difficult. And, you've just explaining what you've done about the shop, and you're going to be doing online orders. Basically, you're a very good example to business people that if you plan, you can get around this. And also, Alex, this is the other thing. I think the businesses that plan and take a hit short term but promote themselves during this, when we come through this horrific time, these businesses will be in an even stronger position than they are now.
Yeah.
So I think, there is a silver lining to all this, and that is we just got to think a bit proactively, be positive about it, help each other, stop being stubborn, stupid, selfish, because some people are. And I think if people can get that into their heads, then we will get through this quicker rather than later, because that's the other thing. The virus can't be stamped out. We all need to catch it, but we need to catch it slowly over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's got a chance to recover from it. If we all catch it at the same time, like's happened in those regions of Italy, then obviously it's mayhem, and the emergency services get completely overrun, and it's uncontrollable. So, yeah, I know it's a bit of a not a negative start, a bit of a serious start to the podcast. But I think if we keep saying the same thing, and hopefully the message will get out there. Obviously, the government have made it crystal clear of what to do. So, sadly, guys, you can't go fishing, and that's as simple as that. You can't go fishing.
Angling Trust have put a thing on Facebook about that, didn't they?
I haven't seen it. What did they say?
Yeah, basically fishing's, not essential. Don't go fishing.
Well, it's a common sense call, isn't it? You can't go fishing until this is over, until the risk factors have decreased significantly. People can't even consider to go fishing, and that's coming from me. I like the first month of the close season because I fished my nuts off beforehand, but I'll tell you what, buddy, there's far more important things in life than just sitting on a bank. And that's life itself, isn't it? And,
It is,
you can't go fishing. Having said that, there are loads of things you can do. So when we can get out again, hopefully in a couple of months' time, you're in a better position to catch bigger and more fish. So now looking on the brighter side of things, we were going to stop the podcasts probably next week. However, we've just had a chat off air, and we're going to continue. And I've already started making plans, and Alex has started making plans. And what we're thinking is we could use this platform to try completely different things out. So, for example, I was in touch with a guy called Joe Peterson last night. Joe's a very famous lure builder from America who is incredibly well known in Sweden as well. And he's going to do weekly parts of the podcast for us. So he's going to tell us what's going on in America, pandemic-wise, and he's also going to tell us what he's been doing during the week for his business, because he was a manager of Banana Republic, which is a clothes retailer, quite a big concern in America. And he left there last October to go full-time lure building. So he's taken that gamble. Obviously, he had all these exhibitions lined up this year that he was meant to go and sell all his baits at, and to be cancelled. But he's now thinking of ways around this, obviously online. So he'll be with us. Well, he's done a bit for us for this week, which will drop into this podcast, and then he's going to do bits for us each week. So that would be cool. So if people have got any questions for Joe, just let us know. I'm also trying to get in touch with Jimmy. Jimmy was the guest we had on over Christmas, and Jimmy's from Sweden. Now, it'd be really cool for Jimmy to tell us what's going on in Sweden, pandemic-wise, so we can get an insight of what's happening with the Swedes over there. But I know also on Saturday, Jimmy was able to get out onto the Baltic, because he sent me a couple of videos of him fishing on the Baltic from his boat. Now, whether they go into complete lockdown, probably, but I don't know. But he can give us the Swedish side of things as well, and no doubt Jimmy will be doing things fishing-wise as well. So we can use the podcast to branch ourselves out internationally and see what's going on in other countries. And we're not hearing it from news outlets, we're hearing it directly from guys that we know. And the second thing we thought about doing is that, because Alex, you're going to be in self-isolation in probably what is most anglers' dream place to be self-isolated, a tackle shop, we're going to get you playing with all sorts of bits of tackle. Excuse the pun. Yeah. So we were just talking to start off with pole floats, pole rigs, and all sorts of things to do with poles and pole fishing. So what I'm going to do, I'll go back into my old school teacher mode, and I'm going to give Alex loads of homework. And Alex is good. It's like the old days, isn't it? Yeah. You get a detention, mate, if you don't get it in on time.
Well, yeah. I mean, we all are in detention, aren't we?
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
Do you realise I have the world record for the longest detention ever?
Really?
Yeah. The guy's name was. Oh, was it Adam Torn? I can't remember now. I used to play rugby with his dad.
Right.
And the dad used to get really fed up with Adam because he didn't like PE, and he used to forget his PE kit. And
right.
This was back in the day. We had a staff versus pupils cricket match, and Adam was getting really annoying me. And I said to him, "Look," I said, "if you forget your kit one more time, because I don't like detentions. I just think it's a complete waste of everyone's time. But yeah, sometimes you have to do these things just to reinforce. So I said to him, next time, buddy, if you forget your kit, I'm going to give you detention after school. And as per normal, he sat there just grinning at me, and I thought, oh, you little bugger. Anyway, he forgot his kit next time. So I phoned Mum up. I said, he's forgotten his kit again. She went, oh, do you know what? Every week I get it ready for him, and he had it in his bag, he didn't take it. I said, I know. I said, I've got an idea though. I said, I think this might prove a point to him. I said, we've got the staff versus pupils cricket match next Wednesday. I said, what about if I keep him behind and he can sort all the kit out? She went, brilliant. I said, it will last about 3 hours. She went, even better. So it lasted longer than 3 hours. He sat in the school minibus looking through the doors, sorting all the kit out as the staff and the pupils were playing this cricket match. And like I said, it was back in the day. I drove him home. I think it must have been about 7:30 he got home. Kicked him out the car, and I was waving at Mum as he was walking down the driveway back into the house. Guess what? Guess what happened next PE lesson?
He's got his kit.
Nah, he never forgot it once again, did he? He knew he was going to get the second longest detention ever. So yeah, that's my detention story. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Yeah. Well, apart from the obvious, we're okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, how are things over there right now?
We're just waiting for Boris to announce. I think he's going to announce a lockdown tonight.
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing that's going on here. So, yeah, they're pretty sure the government won't. I don't think our government can actually issue a mandatory lockdown without congressional Congress passing it, but all the states can. So a lot of the states have already. I'm pretty sure our state's next. That they'll say mandatory inside. Right now, it's recommended we're inside, and everything's closed though. There's really no reason to go outside. There's nothing open.
No.
So
I spoke to Jimmy 2 days ago, and he said Kentucky. Yeah. I think Kentucky closed down completely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah. Hey, that's a great musky behind your head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that one.
Lure Lab.
Yeah, Lure Lab. Yeah. You can see that, huh?
Ah.
Yeah. That's a 54.5 on that one. I won the Frank Schneider with that one.
Now,
so that was the trophy.
How many other people do you know that have caught a 54.5-inch muskie?
Yeah, I know quite a few, actually. All my friends are guides.
I was hinting.
Yeah,
oh, yes.
God, I don't know. I mean, why don't you ask me how many Englishmen I know have caught a 54?
How many Englishmen do you know that have caught a 54.5-inch muskie?
I don't know. It hasn't been verified yet. One and one Swede. Or two. No, I know about a few Swedes, actually, that have caught big ones. But, yeah, one sexy English guy. I know for sure.
We're in my man cave. Can you see?
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
I'm in mine, too, here.
Yeah.
You can see the Lure Lab.
Yeah,
So I've got my painting set up here. And then the painting setup goes into my actual production. I'll give you the whole tour here. Goes into my production area. Got some baits down here. This is my epoxy room.
I'll tell you what, buddy. Can we start this again?
Sure.
Because I'm going to record.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so...
Sure.
What I thought I'd do... Oh, I still got you. So, we'll do the podcast audio.
Okay.
And then I was going to ask you and Jimmy if you would send me a weekly video of what you've been doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a 2-minute clip if you're doing some baits or...
well, that's all I'm doing right now, so yeah, for sure.
I mean, I've been... Look, that's what I've been doing today. Tying the fluff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The fluff.
So I've been tying the fluff. So I thought I'm going to try and do a vlog once a week as well. And it'd be cool to have you guys involved. Right, give me the tour.
Yeah. Sure. Well, it's kind of messy down here, so I'll just show you what I'm just working on right now. I'm just shipping this guy out right now.
Oh, heckler. No?
Nope, this one's a prop bait. So this guy here is the tail chaser.
Is that the heckler head?
But I have a lot of hecklers too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm packing everything up. This is one little section here where I'm just packing stuff up. So it's messy down here, but I've got this is my workshop area. So I got my tools along one side here. Baits I'm getting ready to go on here. I've got baits everywhere right now because I've got all my baits that I've been trying to finish up for the shows that aren't happening.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I've got just kind of baits everywhere right now. Then my painting area is to the corner here. You can kind of see that. I've got my own dedicated epoxy room, complete with a True Coat sticker. That's how you know it's an epoxy room.
Yeah.
But in here, I've got it's super heated. Let me get a light on in here. It's insulated and heated. I've got all my rotators and machines in here for putting epoxy on. So you kind of get the idea there.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
keep that door 85 degrees in there right now, so it's pretty warm. So the epoxy goes on pretty quick.
Hold on a minute. Just for English guys, that's not 85 degrees centigrade.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's just really hot.
That's fabulous.
I don't think England actually has ever gotten to 85 degrees. So you guys wouldn't know.
No.
Yeah, I just spilled my... No. Man down, I just spilled my drink right here, so I'll clean that up a little bit. Anyway.
That's cool. Yeah, so,
yeah,
well, we'll talk about that at the end if you could. That'd be great if you could
sure.
send me some videos. And it'll just
Absolutely.
keep everyone's pecker up, so to speak. And
yeah,
because it's worrying times, but if everybody self-isolates properly, we'd be okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I went and tested some new lures down at the only open water we have right now. It's still ice here. It's starting to melt, and it's warmer today, but we only have a couple spots that are ice-free. And I would say the self-isolation is getting to people. I've never seen so many people fishing in this little pond ever, actually. Tons of people out there, and I've never seen another soul out there. So you can tell people are sick of being inside, that's for sure.
Yeah, just got to hold tight there, haven't they, and get it done. But we're not... See, over here is weird. I think tonight they're going to say it's going to be locked down from Wednesday, I think. But most people have been brilliant over here. I'd say three quarters of the population have been incredibly sensible. But you've got that minority. I don't know about you guys, but they've gone mad with the food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, toilet roll 2 weeks ago.
Gone.
Yeah. What's wrong with people? It's like crazy.
I don't know.
No, and what I figured out last week is people aren't buying perishable goods like fruit and veg. They're buying all the tin stuff. So me and my partner, I said to her, we're just going to live off fresh fruit, vegetables.
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Because you go around the supermarkets and it's still available. But I think the last couple of days people have calmed down a little bit here. So I think we most of us realise the lockdown has to come. So it's just a case of getting it done, and then the countries, the governments and the health services can get on top of it. Yeah, right. Is it the same? Slow it down enough. Is it the same with you guys then? Is it exactly the same scenario? Yeah, same thing. I think we were a little bit faster to lock things down. I mean, we're not in a mandatory quarantine in the state I'm in, but they're telling everyone to stay home for 2 weeks and not to come out, but they're not enforcing it yet. That's the difference. So if they do a shelter in place, that's when they can enforce it, which will probably happen for us this week, I'm guessing, because a lot of the states around us are doing that. Might be wrong, but and then nothing's open. They close restaurants and bars. I think the same as you guys. Everything but grocery stores and pharmacies are closed. But you can still get food from restaurants if you pick it up. So we still have that going on. 6 feet away, no groups of people no groups of people larger than 10. So that's what we've got right now. But everyone's kind of staying home. But I live on a chain of lakes right in the downtown Minneapolis area. And so we go for walks quite a bit, and everybody's outside going for walks. And I say most people are pretty sensible, except for there's a lot of groups of younger people who don't seem to give a damn, and they're in big groups and they're playing around. And anyway, I think the younger generation think they're invincible. Oh, yeah, definitely. And the scary thing here in the States is today they're talking about how there's a lot of young people in the States who are getting it as compared to Italy, Spain, China. We have a lot of people in the age bracket of 20 to 50 who are in the hospitals and dying. Really? So, so that's scary. Don't know if it's morphing or what it's doing, but it's 40% of the patients right now are age 20 to 50. So that's a difference from other places. So, so that's not good. No, because I think all our deaths have been with people who had underlying health conditions. So. Yeah, that was us too, but now that doesn't necessarily seem to be the case. Although that's the majority of people who are passing from it. But Well, when we'll catch up probably next week, and you can give us a lowdown of what's. If you're quite happy to do this the next 3 or 4 weeks, that'd be lovely. cool. People get a...
Yeah. Oh, I even have my own little, I got a tripod set up over here because I'm doing videos for True Code. So I can set everything up.
Perfect.
Yeah, give me something to do.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll be phoning each other daily at this rate.
Yeah, yeah, seriously.
Okay, I think because obviously we've been talking for a little while now, and we'll just let things roll. But if you could just, obviously I know you really well, but guys in the UK won't have a clue. So I can't believe, but won't have a clue who Joe Peterson is. So Joe, just give the guys who are listening a background of how you got into all this. Yeah.
Oh God, how I got into it. Boy, all right. So I'll give you the abbreviated version of how I got into it. A number of years ago, like 2000, 20 years ago. Wow, that's a long time. I always liked high-end fishing lures, and my boat partner Duff, who owns Supernatural Big Baits, he used to make fun of me all the time, and he'd say, "I can't believe you spend that much money on baits." And they're like $40 baits back then, which was a lot of money. Nowadays, for high-end baits, it's not much, but back then it really was. And he would always make fun of me. And he owned a furniture-making business, and he used to hand-carve these ugly-ass baits. I think they were called the Hag or something like that. I mean, they're terrible. And I would make fun of them all the time. And he would color them with crayons, and he would tell me he did crayons because they're made of wax, so it would waterproof the lure. I mean, they're just horrific. I mean, they're the ugliest lure I've ever seen. But he caught lots of fish. And so I was making fun of him for his baits, and he was making fun of me for what I like. And he said, "Well, you're pretty creative. You should come to the shop, my wood making furniture shop, and try to make your own lure." And I did. And so I went to his shop. I made a couple lures, and they're pretty nice. I mean, by that day's standards. And about a month later, I started selling them. And so it just kind of went from there. Had a really good strain of luck here that people still like my lures. A lot of tournaments here in the States are won on them, and a lot of big fish are caught on them. Little shot there. A lot of big fish are caught on them. And so it's been about 20 years now, and it's been rolling. So up to last year, though, I still always had my career. So I had another job. I actually left that job in October of last year to pursue this full time. Because in the interim of just making fishing lures, I also produce epoxy for the fishing lure industry. And in the States, most of the guys are using my epoxy nowadays. Most of the musky guys, for sure. The bass guys do too. And so I thought, well, this is a prime time for me to take retirement from my 30-year career and pursue this full time. And then the COVID-19 hit. So anyway, it's been a interesting run, but I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, but you've missed, because obviously that's how you got into it. But your wooden bait design's really cool, but your paint jobs are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's,
oh, thanks, dude.
They are.
Yeah.
And
I've got a bunch of, I don't know if you can see behind me, I'm working on quite a few right here. So it's show season still technically here, even though we don't have any shows going on. But I'm getting a big batch ready to go.
You've been very, what's the word? I can't think tonight, Joe, but You've been very modest, because when I first met you and we walked around the Swedish Lure Fair 3 or 4 years ago, a lot of the Swedish guys were copying your designs. With the big eyes and the gills, and the paint jobs. And also in Sweden, you are incredibly famous for your lure designs, which is amazing.
It's a small country with great guys. Actually, I shouldn't make fun of them because I love that country. And talk about great lure builders. That place is just chock full of them. So
and it's getting stronger, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they are top of the curve for sure.
Crazy.
So.
But just for English listeners, Joe is incredibly well-renowned lure builder in the States and in Sweden, and you are, because you walk around the show and everybody wants to know. It's great. But going back to COVID-19 and kicking out all these lure festivals, because how many shows did you have lined up this spring?
I had 6.
Wow.
6 shows in 4 countries. So everything's been canceled. I've got maybe a show in Prague, but that's actually for FTEX. That's for my job. I didn't mention, I also work for Strike Pro, so I design lures for Strike Pro lures. And so FTEX is in Prague this year, and then we also have ICAST here in the States, but at this rate, I doubt they're going to happen. So, but I had quite a few shows lined up, a bunch of different countries, all across the United States. We made it through one. We had the Chicago Musky Show, which is a good show here. It's the first show. And so that one's important. So we got through that one just great. I mean, we were sold out in record time.
Come on.
And so
Come on. How quick?
Well, okay, less than 15 minutes.
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, it was a pretty big batch too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Was
we
it-
actually
Was it that?
Go ahead.
Was it that show last year where your booth got moved back about a meter?
we got knocked over. Yeah. So yeah, last year. So this year we limited baits and said everyone can buy 2. And we put a cordon off the area so you can only let one person in the booth at a time. And I think you know my friend Bryce.
Yeah.
He's a MMA fighter, big guy, and he was holding the booth down. I mean, he made sure no one more than one person at a time got in. And so it was much more organized this year. But last year, it was kind of a free-for-all. I got pushed out of the way. They knocked my booth over, and the guy in the booth behind me, there's a curtain partition that sections off the areas of the show. And the guy who was behind my booth actually had a TV set that was suspended on cables behind his booth. And it was behind me. I couldn't see him because there's a curtain there. And they knocked my booth over, pushed it over into the next booth behind me, and knocked his TV set over.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to pay for his TV set. And then we sold out. That was sold out. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. It was under a minute we were sold out. I mean, totally gone. But which was great PR, but terrible for everything else. So now we start limiting them.
Yeah,
So,
that's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a shame. Also, because it had a lot of bad weather for the first one, didn't you?
Well, it was. Yeah, I mean, we got lucky. We had a huge blizzard where I'm from in Minnesota. I'm in the northernmost part of the country, and if you look at a map of the United States, it doesn't look like we're the most north place because the Earth is curved, and for maps they flatten out. So Minnesota is actually the most northern state, and we have the most northern portion. And so we get pretty cold, right? And we get lots of snow here. We also have the best fishing, so that's a bonus, but long winters. And so I left the day before we had a big blizzard here. And so I made it fine to Chicago, drove down with the booth and everything, and avoided it. So it wasn't that big of a deal. Chicago had some snow and some crappy weather, but I mean, by my standards where we live here, it was nothing.
No.
So, yeah.
Also, I think we need to mention that you are of the guppy fame, or should I say, the goopy, if you're French.
Le goopy.
Le goopy.
Oui,
Le goopy.
oui, dans
So,
français, le goopy.
Anybody who has watched Fly versus Jerk,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you would have noticed that the CWC anglers, they use the Miras mouse and they use the goopy.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Pierre calls it goopy.
The
Yeah,
goopy,
for sure.
And Joe designed the guppy.
Yeah, that's my lure. So
There's your lure.
Yep.
So that's how,
yeah, awesome to see them win it this year on that, right?
I
Big
know.
fish too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was about just over 26 pounds in English.
Yeah,
That's a huge,
Yeah.
another huge pike for Pierre. Does it every year? It's crazy.
The guy is a vacuum cleaner. I mean, I've fished with Pierre multiple times. I've unfortunately had the pleasure to fish behind Pierre and Stefan Truman in the front of the boat, and I'll be in the back of the boat. And it's like fishing behind one of those big ocean trawlers that that drag those nets and they just scoop up every fish in the area. I'm behind that because those guys catch every fish and there's no scraps left in me ever. I mean, every fish. The vacuum cleaners up in the front of the boat, they get them.
The Human Demon vacuum cleaner.
Yep, that's right.
That's the one.
Yep.
Well, you want to stick Pierre in the back.
Yeah, right. He should be in the back.
Yeah,
it'd be a fair. He'd still win though. I mean, that guy is part pike, and they flock to him. So yeah, he's a great angler.
Yeah, they fish well as a team, don't they, as well? But he catches some fantastic fish in Ireland. But to be fair to him, he catches all his fish on the products of the guys who sponsor him, which is even more to his credit. So that's really cool. But Joe is you're the designer, the guy who invented the guppy. So that's really cool.
Yeah, sure.
So
thanks.
English anglers, but they might actually recognise one of your lures if they go and watch Canal Gratis Fly versus Jerk. And Joe's,
Right, which you should.
Yeah,
Great.
I reckon it's the best fishing YouTube channel by a country mile.
Yeah, I agree. Love it.
Well,
They do a great job on everything they do.
Pontus is just awesome as an editor. He's really cool, isn't he?
Yeah, he's amazing.
He is good.
And if you get really bored, I'm on a few videos in there. I'm on the Svartzonker TV a couple times on Svartzonker TV, and then there's a couple True Glide episodes too from way back in the day. They're rather funny actually, where the Swedish guys feed me like terrible food and try to tell me that's what they eat over there. Yeah, it's worth a watch, and we catch fish too.
I saw one with you once fishing a glide bait with Stefan, I think. You were in a boat with Stefan?
Probably.
Or
Yeah.
no, you were with Johan Ruhe.
Yeah, probably with Klaus and Schwarzanker.
Klaus.
And
Right,
Johan Rua.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've got some with Truman on there too, I think. Truman and I fish I probably fish with him more than I fish with most of the guys. So there might be something on there too. But I think most of the ones.
I
can't believe it. Can't believe it.
Can't believe it.
I can't believe it.
Can't believe it. Awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Hey, have you ever noticed, as long as we're talking about Swedish guys, you have Swedish friends too, right? You've got Anders and you've got Jimmy, Wolf Creek guys. Is it just the CWC guys that when they say bye to you on the phone, they say bye like 6 times?
No.
I'll say, hey, we'll talk to you later. And they say, bye, bye, bye,
bye, bye, bye, bye, bye, bye, bye,
bye,
bye.
And then they're gone. Right? They do.
Yeah.
They can't say goodbye. Bye. It's kind of sweet, actually.
I think they're just clinging on.
Yeah. They just don't want to let you go.
I found an interesting fact about the Swedes the other day.
Oh, yeah? I want to hear.
They're not Vikings.
But, I know that.
I thought they were.
Well, no, who told you this? Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's because Jimmy's going to say the Danes are Vikings, right?
Well, he said the Danes and the Norwegians are Vikings. So I said, what are the Swedes? He went, we are landowners. I said,
farmers.
Yeah, I said, what, you mean farmers? Yeah. He went, we don't like to fight, no. So, yeah.
I don't know if that's 100% true, but yeah, there's definitely Vikings over there. They have Viking settlements.
Next year when we get over there, I'm going to really wind them up and say, none of you Vikings.
Yeah. We should start digging when we go over there. Just randomly.
Yes.
Just start digging. You can find Viking ruins, right?
Yeah.
We can do it.
In the middle of the exhibition,
we get chopping.
Get
a
pickaxe out.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? We're digging for a longboat or a Viking horn or I don't know.
Just something. Something to take back home.
Yeah.
And they'll just brush us off as being, the Yank and the English dude.
Crazy Englishman and crazy American. Yeah, they're okay. Yep. They're okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, it's crazy. Oh, dear. Talking of YouTube videos, did you see the blooper done by Musky Mayhem Tackle?
No, not yet. I haven't been watching. I've been too busy painting, so.
You've got my victory.
I haven't watched much TV.
I'm sure you've got my victory dance on your phone.
I probably do. Yeah.
Well,
Brad, maybe that's what I'll send next week.
Brad put that on the beginning of the bloopers tape. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to watch that then.
My waistline's expanded 2 inches this winter, and I was fat last summer, so hey, the TV puts £10 on you. So I've got to go on. I think
so does the hamburgers and the beer. I mean, that puts 10 pounds on you too, right? When you're in the States, that's what we eat.
I know, but I think with this pandemic that's going around, it might be good for my waistline as well.
Oh, really? Not mine. I mean, we're eating like kings over here. Yeah.
That was my plan, but we get so bored, we just sit there and go, sandwich?
Yeah, sandwich sounds good.
Crisps?
Yeah. You know, I've got like a year's supply of my favorite candy, back to Swedish, but it happens to be this candy called Tutti Frutti. And it's, when we go next year, I'll treat you to Tutti Frutti. But everyone over there knows I love Tutti Frutti. So occasionally I get like a big supply of like a 5-pound box of this Tutti Frutti candy. As a matter of fact, here, I'll show you. Hang on. Moving on. This is my secret stash of Tutti Frutti. Hang on. Can you see all the candy in here?
Oh, man.
Yeah, I've got more back in there too, those bags. So I've got like a 5-year supply of this candy. And whenever I'm painting, it's just really, really easy to, occasionally pop a Tutti Frutti in my mouth. So,
Joe, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. In a minute, I'm going to stop the podcast recording.
Sure.
Because I think, if it's okay with you, if we could can we do another 2, 3, 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm fine with that. Yeah, as long as you put up my schedule.
Well, yeah. Well, we were going to finish the podcast beginning of April.
Yeah.
But with what's going on, I think it'd be quite nice for people to actually listen to what's happening around the world.
Yeah, I agree.
And it'd be quite nice to get an accurate reflection from other anglers rather than looking at the scary news, because the news is not good to look at times.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, Andy, like I was telling my daughter this today, is like the news, if you read it, is just apocalyptic. I mean, it's terrible. I get so depressed reading it. And they're giving good news, of course. But if you look at the number of cases that are out there, I always have to remind myself, right now the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases is less than 1% of just the U.S. population. You know, so it's like I always have to remind myself there are people definitely getting sick and dying, but you got to take a little break sometimes, put it in perspective so you can breathe. Like I'm of course taking this serious, of course, but got to get away from the news once in a little while, paint a little bit, take a breath, go outside, see the sun, and remind yourself that it's not a zombie apocalypse quite yet.
No, it's not. I think you've got to be positive about it and go, right, if the governments can get the population to follow simple rules.
Yep, and everyone's doing that here, so it's good.
Yeah, and the emergency services can not be overstretched.
Right.
And then those that need the help can get the help.
Mm-hmm.
We should be okay. Right, Joe, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the podcast recording in a sec, but if we can get you on next week for the podcast, that would be great.
Sure.
And if we could do some little videos with you on the FaceTime, that would be cool.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to let everybody have too much of Joe Peterson in one go.
Oh my God, that's smart. Yeah, that's smart.
I'm going to tease them with 20 minutes of Joe for this week, and then we'll get you on over the next few weeks. So if any of our English listeners have got comments for Joe, they'll let us know through the normal the comment sections, and then I'll read them out to you, because they might want to know some of the stuff that's going on in America with fishing or this. So we'll do both.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, bait building too, man. You guys have a lot of good bait builders over there. You guys got Barry, and you guys have quite a few good people over there. So you guys want bait building questions, let me know. I'll show you what I'm using or what I'm doing at the time. I mean, that's kind of all I'm doing these days, are just painting.
What we were thinking we would do is Alex is going to try and use his cameraman skills. This is where things could go badly wrong.
Badly wrong.
And we're going to try and do some very small video clips of Alex explaining about pole floats or tying individual rigs, and then I'll try and put them together, and then what we'll do, we'll publish those using the YouTube channel Fenland Fishing TV, and I'll do it as a part of a vlog each week, kind of like a weekly vlog. And again, Joe has said he'd help out with that, so I've got some video footage already via FaceTime of Joe showing us around his oh dear, brain's gone. His workshop. So his workshop where he makes his lures. So we just did a real quick one last night, top of our heads. So I think once we get going over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, we could do some quite interesting stuff. Now, the video and quality might not be brilliant, but I think it's better than nothing. And also, if we get 1 or 2 people listening to the podcast actually send us in questions about tackle stuff related items, Alex, then I think it could become really relevant, and people could get up to speed with new rigs, new knots, new techniques. So when we're allowed
knots, I'm not the best person with knots. I only use about 2, and that does me for all my fishing. So you being a specimen angler, you'll know all the names from them all. And
well, again, I was just thinking about this. I use some very strange knots for lure fishing that work brilliantly, but they're quite unique. But knot-wise, I mean, what's the one?
I try and keep everything simple, and obviously blood knot, Palomar knot, and
Paloma,
an overhand loop,
and the grinner, and that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I use a water knot sometimes. You've got the blood knot when you're tying, and the all bright knot. Is it all bright or Brighton? All bright knot.
Yeah, I don't use that knot. I like for attaching braid to mono. I tie a loop in the braid and then just tie the line to the loop, and I don't have any issues with that.
Do you remember a few months ago you called my gear clunky?
No. Yeah, but yours is. My gear's like an 010 braid and a loop that's about you can't even see, and a knot that you can't even see. You wouldn't say it was clunky.
I'm not having that.
Yeah.
I'm not having that. When my drop shot knots, the braid has got to go
yeah,
smooth.
I've seen them all the wrong way around.
Were they?
Yeah.
No, they weren't.
No, they were the first time you tied it, but I'll let you off. It was the hurricane wind and trying to tie it on the boat. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was putting the hook, that I'm really good with knots, apart from one. It always gets me, and I always manage to tie it upside down. I go, I've done it again. What did I do the other day? I did something really funny. It'll come to me in a minute. Must have done something 100 times. Oh, I I've been tying some pipe flies, and
Yeah, I see that on. You put that on the Facebook,
Yeah.
didn't you? Can you spot what's wrong?
I tied this beautiful little roach imitation, and then I looked at it and went, oh, I've tied it upside down. Yeah, I bet it'll work still, but oh man, yeah, couldn't believe it. So I tied a load yesterday. I don't mind tying pipe flies, but it gets a bit monotonous because I'm quite slow at tying them. And I think I did 8 in about 8 hours, and I was looking at that jig fly I got wrong, and it was just sat there next to me. I'm going, don't do that again. Don't do that again. I got to a point last night, I went, oh, I've done it. No, I haven't done it. That's all right. Yeah, so I was tying all white ones, but they were the correct way round. Yeah, so, even though it is uncharted territory for us all, I do think that we can turn this around and keep it positive. So I've isolating in the man cave. I've been,
Yep.
yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got a freezer. I might have to knock on the door, make a phone call for food to be brought to me. I've got a TV in here, so, well, happy days.
Go for it.
We just podcast ourselves to death.
Yeah. They'll be sick of us by the end of the second week.
Do you not think they're sick of us already?
Well, maybe, or it might be a case of they've listened to everything else. They've got to listen to it.
That's our strategy, isn't it? We're going to take over the world. Apple will be phoning us the next few weeks to sponsor us, and Ferrari and all those other big companies.
Yeah.
And we can hold them off. We'll go, no, we don't want 5 million, we want 10.
Yeah.
Our listening base is going to go through the roof. Not because we're so great, because everyone is so bored rigid. They've listened to everything else on the planet, and the last thing available to them is Tales from the Tackle Shop.
Yeah.
We're here to entertain. Oh God, I got mad. Oh,
Yeah.
I need to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Another few things. I am going to speak to Jamie Cook tomorrow. For those that don't know, Jamie Cook is the relatively new CEO for the Angling Trust. So we've had this lined up for ages. But as you can imagine, with the current situation, things we're trying to organise have fallen by the wayside. So, for example, 2 weeks ago, I was driving to Ilkeston today to sit down with him to do the podcast. Obviously, as you can imagine, that's kind of developed. I'm going to phone him tomorrow. So we've got loads and loads and loads of questions for him. A lot of them match fishing related, actually. It's going to take him a couple of hours to chew through all these questions, I should imagine. So that will be the bulk of next week's podcast. Obviously, if it's really long, I'll split it in half because otherwise it'll get a bit boring and monotonous. So that'll be really good because that's quite a scoop because he's new into the role, and I think lots of angling media have been trying to catch him. Excuse the pun. However, we've got in there early doors and. Pete Emery, you need to thank him for that. So Pete's put us in touch with Jamie, so that will be a really good scoop for us. I spoke to Kai last night as well, Kai Jerem. First thing, litter pick. We decided that that can't feasibly go ahead at all now. So we'll postpone the litter pick. I mean, me and you were talking about this last week, weren't we? And I think we could have postponed it last week, but we just held off for a week. So there's no point doing it in the summer because the reeds will have all grown up again. I think, really, Alex, we're going to have to do it this time again next year.
Yeah.
Because it's an ideal time to pick up the plastic when all the vegetation has died back. And obviously in the winter, everybody's busy doing whatever. So we'll revisit that next year. And also, when I was talking to Kai, I was saying, what are you guys doing? And he said, well, actually, even though we've now got to work from home, we've got lots of other things that are cropping up, and we'll still be popping out for emergencies, whether it's enforcement, whether it's looking at flood defences and so forth. So I think if we get Kai back on, that'd be quite interesting as well. And also, he was mentioning, I've forgotten the guy's name, which is bad. He's got a contact with a guy who is involved with fishing coaching for children. So we could try and get him on as well. So the bad news for all our subscribers out there is we've got loads of stuff. We can bore you rigid and keep you entertained for the next 4, 5, 6 weeks easily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Right, buddy, is there anything else you want to mention tackle shop wise from your end?
Just the fact that obviously people have got plenty of time on their hands if they want any hook, line, shot, just a chat or anything. Any questions, just to give us a ring on 07824 878 492. And as long as Royal Mail and passports are still going, I can get to the post office once a day and get items sent out. So that's about it, really. It's all we can do as a business, and I've got plenty of things to be doing in the shop. There's stock to sort out, and my brother's finally finished. Well, not finished completely, but nearly finished my new bait shed. So I'm sure we'll do a video of that, a tour around that when that's done. Plenty to do, but just no customers. So that's what I'll be up to.
Yeah, but it's good. You're very healthy eBay side anyway, aren't you, through the shop?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good chance now to go through and stuff that I've got hidden away and stuff that's not particularly fast off the shelves and it is what it is, and we get on with it. And I'm fortunate that I'm in a position that I can sort of work from home as such. So
yeah, and also when you get really low on provision, you're going to need someone to go food shopping for you.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So obviously, I am your first port of call.
Right.
I've got my bed chair in my van. Well, actually, my van. I could sleep in that.
Yeah. Self-isolation at Rookery Farm.
Yeah, mate, you should see my hair.
I've managed to get some razors and some shaving foam. I mean, I don't really have much of a beard anyway, but there's going to be some funny hairdos in a few weeks' time, isn't there?
Oh, I'm naturally blonde, but I dyed it black.
Really?
I haven't got much hair on my head as it is, but it's starting to get tufty. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I might just shave it all off. Well, I have it pretty low. Yeah, just take it all off.
Yeah.
The beard's getting a bit funny though.
Everyone will be ordering barber sets from eBay, won't they? Do-it-yourself barber sets.
We should have bought a load and got them in the shop.
Yeah, sold them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people will be thinking outside the box, won't they? So.
Well, I think that's the way forward with this. It's just, like I said, it is a bit weird and it is very serious. But also, you can have some light-hearted moments with it. And if you're entrepreneurial, you can come out of this really, really, really shining of roses. I was talking to my partner this morning, and I think she was saying, I might get this slightly wrong, I think Kindle are allowing free downloads of children's books.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that company are going to be in such a strong position when they come out of this because people will remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the way forward.
It is such a shame, like, with being on, not full lockdown, but on lockdown, that people can't go fishing that. But I'd like to think when things do start to improve, then people can perhaps go fishing, and bring your kids and that sort of thing. I'm sure there's sort of some positives that we can do in that side of things, but at the minute we can't do anything and only just bore the customers to death with the podcast. So, well,
the problem with sitting on a riverbank is that you're stationary, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you've got to go and get your bait from somewhere and blah blah blah. So it doesn't. Even though you're on your own, you get in contact with people somewhere along the line to do it. If you go walking your dog, for example, that's a bit different.
Yeah.
Because you're going out for a shorter period of time, and you're kind of picking when you go. But the problem is, if you can walk from home, it's fine. It's do you want to get in your car, drive 10 miles to go and walk the dog? Is that a necessary trip? It's not, is it? You could do it. I don't know. No. That's where the common sense has to come in it. Because what I was going to say is, just to make people aware, is that if you are able to, if you can walk along a riverbank or around a lake in isolation, that would be perfect. Because I'll tell you what is going to start happening, and it has started happening. I've already heard snippets. is that our Eastern European friends are eyeing up these places already for food.
Mm.
I know the guys at Maley Pit are really concerned already. They've seen one or two guys who aren't anglers sussing out swims and access points.
Mm-hmm.
The drains are going to get hammered. I just know this because there's nobody out and about, which is a shame. But I don't know what else we do at the minute. Like I said, fishing isn't the priority. But you know, some people are going to think I'm being a bit racist here. But the sad thing is, I've seen too much of it going on during normal circumstances, and I just worry that this could be open season on our resources. So, if you can get out and about, and it is not being a daft thing to do, and you can walk along a riverbank, it'd be great for your mental well-being to get outside. That's the first thing. But secondly, it'd be great if people could just keep an eye on what's going on, because sadly we have a minority in this country that just want to abuse things, and I think the lockdown will give them a perfect opportunity to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And Alex, you've got where you are. You're gonna have to be a bit careful yourself.
Yeah. Luckily, the fishery's got real gated and that, but obviously, maybe hopefully, the weather does warm up quite quickly, and whilst we're on lockdown, the fish could spawn and get all that out of the way. And who knows? It might be a good year in that sense, that there is no one about, and people can, and the fish can do what they do, and who knows, but we've got plenty of things to be getting on with here anyway.
Well, that's another positive, isn't it? It's it also gives everything an extra. They're saying this is because what they're saying, this is for the next 3 weeks minimum, and they're going to review it. Like I said, I think if we double it, even say 2 months, so you're planned and prepared. If everything has 2 months to recover, where it hasn't had mankind interfering, it might make a massive difference as long as mankind hasn't interfered. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Anyway, let's get back to fishing, because there have been some matches that you can tell us about.
Yeah, I mean, the only ones that I really know of, obviously, there's tons and tons of matches over on commercial fisheries every week, and I can only really talk about the ones we've had here, and the fishing is just starting to improve, really. The days are longer, the weather, I mean, we've had some sharp frosts, which is quite annoying for fishing aspects, but Wednesday we had an over 60s match, and the procedure we went through was everyone paid, dropped money in a box, I wrote their names down, and then when everyone, obviously at 9 o'clock or at 8:30 was your for those boys, I drew everyone's peg out and off they went. We did it outside and took some procedures and stuff like that, make sure everyone washed their hands coming in and out of the tackle shop, and no more than 2 in at once and stuff. There was 24 of them on Wednesday on Raven. Raven's only got 29 pegs, so it was tight. But Mr. Tony Watling won it with £103.4, which is a very good weight considering how many people are on there just fishing pellet and corn in the edges. So it just goes to show that they are starting to look and respond to feed on the lakes. Equal second was Dave Simmons and Rob Heath. Dave doesn't really do any commercial fishing, but I know he's been having some lessons with Mark Pollard, and he's really keen to learn, and as well chuffed for him to get second, so well done Dave. Obviously Rob comes regularly and is not sort of out of the frame very often. And then fourth place was Brian York from Peg 1 with £58 dead, so apart from Tony's winning weight, the backup weights were quite close. So that was Wednesday, and then obviously I think most people thought that this weekend was going to be their last chance to get out, and we had 48 fish to match on Saturday. Again, we had 2 up, 2 down in the shop. Cafe was takeaway only, so everyone was outside in the car park. James drew the pegs, I recorded them. We had Magpie and Raven being used, and the overall winner come from Magpie with £119.8 was Gav Butler from Peg 27. which is a good peg. We don't tend to put it in normally, but because of the numbers, you either put 27 or 36, but we put both pegs in this week. And Gav won it from there, just fishing soft pellet down the edge late on and maggot short, and then sort of another pellet line. And runner, what we do is continental payout. Excuse me. So the winner of the lake gets, obviously, outright winner gets first. Second is the winner of the other lake. And the winner of Raven Lake was Kev Shelley, was £63.4 from peg 2. So the fish seem to be in the low numbers at the minute on Raven. He's caught on maggots, a few fish on pellets. They're generally smaller fish in Raven, so you get a few more bites and the fish are more spread out, whereas magpie, they tend to shoal up more because they're bigger fish, and that's what they do. They tend to sit in certain areas of the lake. Third overall, obviously back over to magpie, was Mark Cross from peg 2. He had £80.8, a few on pellets and a few on maggots, but mostly on banded hard pellet. And then fourth was Tony McGregor, Mr. Mona himself. He had £61.4. So again, real close weights on Raven, and he's caught on maggots across and a few down the middle. But there was good weights, good backup weights on both lakes. So it fished quite well, really. Just a shame, we're in lockdown and we can't start fishing because it's sort of start of the season, really, for commercials, and just one of them things, really.
Yeah, I was just thinking, do you have to go and feed the fish over the next few weeks?
No.
There's enough food in there for them?
No. Yeah, there's enough food in there. They'll be absolutely fine.
I'll tell you what, mate, when 2 weeks after we allowed out again, once a bit of feed started going back in, some of the match results are going to be massive.
Oh, they're going to be hungry, aren't they?
Oh, it'll give them a week or two to get there, depending on what the sporting situation is, but wow, it could be... Wow. It could be biblical. It could be biblical.
Yeah.
Biblical, mate. It's biblical.
Yeah.
Now, you're avoiding one match result, and I'm not going to let you get away with it. Because, come on.
What match result's that?
Oh, yes, that little canal you visited last week.
Oh, yes, yeah. So, me being a more natural angler, natural venue angler...
it's very big-headed of you to say you're a natural angler.
No, natural venue angler.
Were you born with a rod in your hand?
Must have been, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was 5 of the dial tackle and baits lads. We all were in the same boat, really, got to get out. And we decided to book on an open match on the Grand Union Canal at Grafton Regis, Northampton. And a few people that come in the shop that know it well have all said it wasn't very good, and, it's pretty pants and all this and that. But you still go, don't you, knowing that... Well, pretty much knowing what was on the horizon. Again, they had procedures in there for the draw and stuff like that. And drew my peg, and the guy I said, "Oh, is that any good, mate?" He goes, I said, "No." Then he went, "Well, to be honest, no, it's crap." I was like, "Oh, right, okay, mate. At least I know."
Well, you used to it after the crash barrier.
Yeah.
In fact, if you think about it, also that other swim you had next to Marchtown Centre Bridge, where you fell down the bank head first, trying to grasp the nettles and the mud as you were going down.
Yeah. People don't remember those. They only remember the flies, George. You know
I remember those, because every time I walk past the bridge, I can still see the scrape marks in the bank where you fell down.
Yeah. The ducks use it, or the geese use it as a slide now, don't they? Straight in. And when people feed them bread at the top. But yeah, so anyway, I was a bit... I thought, it'd be all right. We'll catch 3 or 4 pound and I'll be well happy, do you know what I mean? Or might snare a few big perch at skimmers. And well, basically, it was probably one of the worst matches I've ever fished. I fed my bread line down the middle in the deep water and fed a line in sort of 3/4. And I had a big tree that had all been cut back, and I could get right into it. And it was like 3.5 foot deep right into the tree. And I thought, really fancy that. You've got to catch something there. You think, I'm going to catch on that. I'm going to catch. I won't feed my peg at the start too sort of. I sort of feed it negative in a way that I could see what fish were in the peg and then approach it differently. And I started on the bread, and everyone after about 20 minutes is looking at each other going, "You had a bite, mate?" No. Basically, everyone I could see, not one person had a bite. And I was like, nah, this is going to be rancid. And then Steve Joy give it probably an hour, and he got off his box and walked about. He said, I'm going to have a walk about anyway. He walked all the way up to the bridge, and there wasn't one fish caught in 20 pegs. Not one. So everyone's like, it means I've got to sit here now. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, he come and after about half hour, 40 minutes of walking about, he come back and sat on his box. And within 20 minutes, he goes, I've just seen a fish top. And everyone was like, yeah, whatever, mate. Anyway, within a minute, he'd got a roach and another roach and another roach. And I thought, here we go. Might be a few fish moving into the match length now. And he had 12 and 12 drops. Then the guy next to him, in between me and him, he dropped in and had 4 and 4 drops. Then a load of boats went through and a few blokes turned up talking to him. And that was the end of his match. So I'm thinking, great, the only chance I had of maybe a few fish coming down is gone now, where the boats have gone through and a few people have been on the bank. And anyway, I just went through the motions like you do, trying this, trying that. You start off with no bait. In the end, you just fill it in and just hope for the best on some lines.
Yeah, fill it in.
And it's just one of them, and you just pick a line. You think, if I'm going to get one, that's where I'm going to get one. So I spent all day fishing 16 metres at the back of this tree, and I managed to snare 2 roach just out of the blue for probably an ounce and a half, maybe. The 2 roach went.
So when your float went under, did you kind of go, oh, what?
Yeah, I felt warm, and then I dropped in next chuck and had another one. I thought, here we go, and then never had another bite.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Nothing, yeah.
How can that happen?
But yeah, there was a guy probably about 8 pegs away. He had 1 bite, 1 fish, which was a perch, £1.5 pound. And then basically everyone blanked up to Captain Pugwash Sandberry next to the bridge. I called him that because there was a sunken boat down his edge, and he's managed to snare 4 big perch. Well, they weren't that big, but 4 perch for £2.5, which won him his section. Then the other side of the bridge, Gav blanked, and then there was like some boats and bits and bobs, and there was just little pockets of fish. Steve McFadden, no, Pete McFadden, he had £3.3, and then there was an empty peg between him and Dan Abbott, and he had £2.11, I think, and they were first and second in the match. It was absolutely dire, but that's canal fishing sometimes, and it was, at the end of the day, we didn't catch a lot. Well, a lot of people didn't catch anything, but it was still enjoyable to be out and just making the most of it, really.
Well, I think that's, if you look back to that, was it a Wednesday, a week and a half ago, or last week? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Compared to now, well, you go every week rather than be stuck inside, but that's just the nature of what we've got at the minute.
At least I didn't blank on my last outing of the season.
No, I did.
Yeah, so did Gav. Won the match on the Saturday, and then next day he's blanked. That's fishing for you, isn't it?
Yeah. God, I tried really hard last day of the season.
So I'm sure Gav will be going back there soon.
Oh, dear. Well,
you've got to laugh about these things, or you'd cry, wouldn't you?
I think I must be... I don't know what's wrong with me. When we get kind of... situations happen where it's a break from the routine, I kind of quite enjoy it. I don't know why. I think I don't like routine, but I know this is quite severe and very serious, but I've started to look at the positives of it all. I've got loads of things that I'm worried about. Obviously, money, I'm not good. Other things that I've got, that I'm just worried about things. But my overriding thought is, everyone's in the same boat. We've all got to pull together. There's no point doom and gloom in it. You might as well actually try and turn this around and go, do you know what? It'll give me a chance to do this, to do this, to do this, to do this, and to do this. And the people that actually take advantage of that dead time where we're at home, when they come out of it, they're going to be in a far greater position, because the really good matchmen will be sitting at home tying up all these extra rigs and getting them spot on and making their sure the kit's clean, all serviced. It's like star things last night with the car. My van, I just made sure I was topped up with fuel. The tyre pressures were spot on. Just little things that I could do. I'm not very mechanically minded, so I just thought, the more you plan, the less likely things are going to go wrong. But also, when I can get back out there and get fishing again, I've got so much. I know all my gear is going to be absolutely perfect. So I was going to do some pipe fly fishing, but I normally do that in May, June. So that at the moment looks like it could be off. But I'm tying loads of new pipe flies. I've got to sort all my lines out. Going to clean all those, get all the gear absolutely perfect. I've got to get my side imaging stuff sorted out. I've got a new bit of kit that I need to set up. So really, it's a perfect time just for doing all the mundane things that help you fishing, rather than actually just worrying about it. So there are silver linings to all these problems, but you just got to kind of focus on the positives, really. Or self-isolate in a tackle shop.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
No, I think you've done a really good thing. So before we go, let's just reiterate that Rookery Waters is shut for fishing.
Yeah.
And the tackle shop is shut for visitors.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
However, you guys can phone in, fine.
Yeah.
Online orders, fine. So it's just the nuts and bolts of actually no one is to go to the tackle shop and no one is to go to the fishery.
No, spot on.
Perfect. And then we will have a... well, I think we should run a competition, the best haircut after we come out of isolation.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that could be quite funny if one or two people want to get involved with that, because one or two anglers look a bit scary actually when they're normally presentable, let alone after 6 to 8 weeks of not going to the hairdressers. Can you imagine some of the pictures?
Yeah, I know.
Oh dear, yeah, that would be funny. Right, buddy. Anything else you want to mention?
No, that's it, really, mate. That's it.
Cool. I was just thinking as we're talking, I should apologise to people now, but I'm going to somehow try and put Joe's piece in the middle of this podcast somewhere. But it's kind of not going to be introduced. It's probably just going to suddenly be some American guys suddenly start talking. So, guys, if it doesn't quite blend in this week, you'll have to excuse me. But I haven't really got my brain in gear about this one this week, because things have changed literally every day. So we'll just go with the flow and keep it light-hearted where possible and have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Right, Alex, stay on the line, because I'm going to have a chat with you in a minute. But I'm just going to wrap this up and say this has been Tales from the Tackle Shop, a Fenland Fishing TV production.